You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Zach. And Adam.
Hey, how we doing?
You know what? I'm doing all right.
That's good.
Perhaps I'm feeling like maybe I was an established character for quite some time, and then people didn't really know what to do with me, so they bounced me around trying to find something that would stick. And
trying to solidify you when, maybe you were out of phase for a while.
Exactly. Thank you. Because being out of phase really is what throws off the most people out there ever.
That's okay.
Is it okay?
I'm feeling pretty solid this week. Like I could walk on air.
We're talking about Kitty, guys. We're talking about Kitty. We're doing that. We're doing a Kitty one, but specifically, we're doing some weirder off the beaten path Kitty ones.
This might be an understatement. These are weird stories.
They're weird stories, but at least one of them is one that a significant number of people are like, yeah, I remember that one, and I've got thoughts about it.
Well,
including Christopher, our friend Christopher Claremont.
I do think we're going to go from like kind of recognizable reality, Marvel reality, to like, what are we even doing? Like, this is going to escalate. But we are starting in one place because of a Patreon request, correct?
You're right, Adam. This actually comes from Patreon supporter Kyle Still, who went on over to patreon.com and reached deep down into their hearts and pocketbooks and tossed a couple of coins into our coffers. If you want to be like Kyle, you can go over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom, and for $5 a month, you too can become a Patreon supporter. You'll get an entire episode based around something that you come up with. Hey, you can get 2 stories on there if they're good and go together, and we haven't covered them, and I'm feeling generous that day. That's what happens. That's what happens. I was like, yeah, these are both good. Sometimes, God bless you, sometimes listeners don't understand how we put things together.
And Kyle got it. He got the memo.
They can all start with 1. That's the thing. Yeah, the beauty is all we ask is 1, and then let us work our magic, because that's what you've been here for 421 episodes for.
That's right.
Is our touch. Because we've got the touch. We've got the power.
Oh, man, you make me want to sing the song.
It's because I know you're a Transformer boy.
Yeah. Watched that movie way too many times as a child. A couple more times in adulthood. But it's not
very good. It's a bad movie.
Ooh, I don't know if it's terrible. It's got its charm. There's a lot worse 80s toy movies. Let me tell you that. There's some real stinkers.
I believe it, but here's the thing: when people are like, "Oh, we got to go back to the Gen 1 Transformers,"
yeah,
but are you sure you need to go to the Gen 1 Transformers? Because cartoon's not good.
The show is terrible.
And I've never read the comics, which I hear are good in both English and the Queen's English.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff there.
Do you think Lilbit, Princess Lilbit, would have read the Queen's English version of those Transformers comics, though?
The reality is the Transformers UK is mostly reprints of American Transformers. It's just that occasionally they added some additional shorter stories, and so there's a little bit of both. But yeah, sure, why not?
I've only read The Lost Light and More Than Meets the Eye. Like that is the only Transformers comics I've read. I read some of the Daniel Warren Johnson stuff. It's fine, and I like Daniel Warren Johnson. I actually don't think I don't think drawing robots is the best use of his strengths.
Well, he only drew like the first 10 issues, so
it's and I like Jorge Corona. It's just like I think Daniel Warren Johnson.
And now Corona's not doing it. They got a whole new
drawing it now.
Kirkman's writing, and
I heard Kirkman's writing, which he's never done anything for me as a writer, except for keep me reading an entire compendium of Walking Dead against my will.
Dan Mora. And I read the last issue.
Dan Mora drawing doing that?
I don't know. That's
Does
what
he
he's doing
sleep?
now.
I know it's a joke that Dan Mora draws a lot of stuff, but Dan Mora draws a lot of stuff. Like two books is a lot of stuff, and he draws greater than.
I read the last issue of Transformers, and I thought it was pretty fun. And I was like, oh, this is making a you know what out of me, because I've talked so much trash on Kirkman. But all right, wait a minute. You just referenced a character from what I thought was going to be our second story today. So are you saying you want to start with True Friends?
Bud, I didn't think this through in any particular order. I put 3 stories on the list, and none of them are connected temporally to anything or each other.
I think it would be actually smart to do them in the order they're here, because
Then
this is
let's do that.
It's not only chronological, but I do think that we're kind of starting with like somewhat normal and going to wackier and wackier.
Then let's put Princess Lubith aside.
and let's start with Lethal Larry Hama. Speaking of 80s cartoons, taking up Kitty Pryde, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. from 1997.
We talk a lot of crap about Robert Kirkman in this episode already, which is wild for a thing he is not involved in even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly good that Robert Kirkman was like, yeah, we're doing G.I. Joe now. Hey, Larry, you want to just keep doing the same thing you've been doing for 40 years that you enjoy? Yes. That's what you should do. If Larry, and we'll talk about this later, but sometimes I do love the idea of telling like a Larry Hama or a Chris Claremont, just keep doing it and we'll just see what happens. Just keep on. Forget all the other. Just do your thing and let's see what you cook.
This is
Lethal Larry.
This is very much, even though like you wouldn't know it from the trade dress or anything like that, because this looks kind of staid and boring, but Kitty Pryde, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. like might as well just be an arc of Wolverine. If you had Silvestri or Teixeira or like somebody else from the 90s illustrating this arc, you would be forgiven if you thought that that's what this is, because it involves Kitty Pryde, Ogun, Wolverine, and pulling a lot of the same tricks that he did in like past Wolverine issues, including Wolverine doing the motorcycle onto the helicarrier joke again, which then
he does say, man, last time I did this in that famous comic.
Unfortunately, and I don't want to be too disparaging in this because the book looks fine. It's not terrible by any means, but it is illustrated by Jesus Redondo and inked by Sergio Malia, and it's just kind of house style. It's nothing too exciting.
It is of publishable workmanship, is what it is.
Yes,
it is. I'm not thinking about it beyond, it's there, but it is like generally it's unimpressive art.
No, it feels very much like just mailed away for this comic book and it got sent to me or something. Because
would you be shocked that the rest of the credits that Jesus Redondo has with Marvel are, and I am not exaggerating this, 3 issues of Skeleton Warriors based on a 90s cartoon.
Okay.
That I don't remember.
Never heard of that.
12 issues of Star Trek Voyager.
Oh.
And then 2 tie-ins to Spider-Man 2 the movie.
Fun. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
They aren't even real tie-ins. They're tie-in like the little comics that HarperCollins would make.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of artistic quality we're dealing with here, right? Like these feel like the kind of art you might get in a freebie or a PSA comic. But it does make me laugh how quickly I realized like how much of a Larry Hama thing this was, because the beginning of this is the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier coming down or another S.H.I.E.L.D. vehicle or something coming down to get Kitty Pryde, and characters, like multiple characters, I think it's Kitty, Pete Wisdom, Colossus, and Megan, are all just like spouting out the specs, like as if this was like a really cool, handbook on this particular ship that they're flying. It makes me laugh so much.
Listen, that's what Larry Hama Larry Hama loves technical specifications of military equipment.
Yeah. And they're basically like,
Him and Chris love that stuff. Chris specifically about airplanes.
and they're like, we can't start the helicarrier because something has locked us out and says the only thing that can open it up is like the DNA handprint voice recognition of Kitty Pryde.
Which
And
GW Bridge, Commanding Officer GW Bridge.
mhm.
You didn't think that might not be like... You didn't think that was so specific that it may not be a trap?
Yeah, because it definitely is a trap. Luckily for S.H.I.E.L.D., Kitty is mid breaking up with Pete Wisdom here. So
she's more like, Pete, you're... I don't know. They're going through... She's like, you're kind of a jerk.
yeah,
But it's kind of like they're flirting because that's kind of... Here's the thing. Pete Wisdom...
sucks.
I like Pete as a character. I don't think he should date Kitty Pryde, and I don't think anyone does. I think Pete Wisdom is a very interesting character. Pete Wisdom doesn't change. Like, that's the thing. It is Hama looking at, okay, well, they've got a weird age thing in their relationship. We think that definitely happened by misunderstanding. But okay, how do we deal with this? Well, hold on. What would be an actual issue that a couple with a real age gap, problematic or not, could have? And that is the younger person who is a young adult still finding out where they are in their life, grows and changes at a significantly different rate than the older, more established person. And that's kind of what's happening here, because Pete Wisdom, he's the same Pete Wisdom that she fell for.
Sure.
He's not changing. She's growing up and being like, is this really what I want?
Yes, I don't want to ascribe too much sophistication to this, though, because the whole thing is really just an excuse to get her onto the helicarrier, make her a S.H.I.E.L.D. intern, get her flirting with one of the other S.H.I.E.L.D. interns, only to learn that, oh my God, the dead spirit of Ogun has, I guess, possessed the helicarrier, because he can do that now because he once inhabited the body of Lady Deathstrike and can now inhabit any cybernetic
How many
thing?
X-Men villains have turned into cyberspace? I can
Ooh.
think of 3 on the top of my head.
Oh, really?
That they've turned into EXEs.
Who are the others?
Well, Lady Deathstrike, specifically when she became the... you remember Mexican Lady Deathstrike?
Oh, right.
Yeah, she was a computer virus for a little bit.
God, yeah.
Here's the thing. That arc's not good. I do stand behind, like, that Terry Dodson Mexican Lady Deathstrike design.
Good design.
It's a good design. Bad character, good design. And that arc goes off the rails because it becomes about something way different halfway through it. It doesn't get a chance to actually resolve, which is an issue. And when I fell off of that book, great art on that one. Ogun now, and Malice when she was
Malice
email
was a
attachment.
virus.
Yeah.
And then I guess this isn't a villain, but Hope with Meme.
Hope was obvious. Yes, Hope was definitely living vicariously through a computer, which whom amongst us?
See, this Ogun thing like makes sense in context of Larry Hama logic.
Yes. For Larry Hama, I'm not even arguing.
The thing that doesn't really make sense to me in this is that there are 2 or 3 times when Ogun is able to like create a physical manifestation of himself using like protoplasm or something, and he becomes this kind of like green ogre. He also has the ability to like possess people, because like he possesses
that's what he does.
The new boyfriend.
Hold on, you're jumping around a couple of things.
Yeah.
We should introduce that once she gets on the helicarrier, she gets introduced to another intern by the name of Rigby Fallon, who is...
Wow.
I mean, look.
That's a G.I. Joe name.
Listen, Larry knows how to name them. Rigby is a nothing character. He is generic nice, but very much... What he is he's Doug from those New Mutants issues before Doug was on the team.
He's Kitty's exactly age, and he's like into technology and computers. So a good match.
Yeah, and she starts to get that feeling throughout this, and she's like, "Oh, well, wait, maybe? Should I start dating people who aren't a chain-smoking 30-something British spook?"
Yeah.
Kitty also, and this will tell you how culture has changed over the last 30 years. Kitty is surprised by the idea that Republicans would wear dungarees.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Which is
One, no one calls them dungarees. I don't think
no.
were people calling them dungarees in the late 90s?
No, but it is a funny insult because like the idea of the stereotypical Republican in khakis is pretty funny. So like seeing somebody in jeans and so,
But
I don't
now,
know.
owning khakis is nearly honestly depends on the economic bracket. But there is a gulf between people who own khakis and their political opinions that did not exist in the 90s.
Yeah, the joke has not aged well.
Which is not Larry Hama's fault necessarily. It is weird how multiple I don't know. Did I talk about this joke and mix it up with the Cyclops
You did talk
thing?
about the Cyclops joke.
And then make it about it's just they only made 2 jokes like that, and they happened within 3 years of each other, and it's all I've saved them both on my phone for years, and they all blended together.
No, they're 2 separate jokes, but they're pretty much doing the same thing.
They are, but I don't remember the Cyclops one was about jeans or not.
I think it was.
I'm vamping. I have to
Pretty sure it was. Take a look. I mean, you just talked about this on the Pack Natal.
Which is like I thought I just mixed up because there's no way that there's no way that Brian K. Vaughan and Larry Hama came up with the same very weird, like, was that a thing that I'm just...
Well, I think there's the thing in the 90s of kind of like the Republican uniform, and I don't know. I mean, it must have been enough to, because I'm pretty sure that is what the Cyclops joke is too.
Is that
Cyclops
series not on Marvel Unlimited?
I don't know if it is. That's a good point.
It's Brian K. Vaughan, guys.
Yeah. While you're looking for that, I will say that
yes. Keep talking about it.
Yeah, what's kind of like just dull about these 3 issues is that it's basically like Larry Hama forgot his AOL password. Like it's a lot of we got locked out of the helicarrier again. But here's what I want to say.
What do you want to say?
We were joking about Larry Hama playing the hits, right? Wolverine's going to jump on the helicarrier with a motorcycle, et cetera, et cetera. He also does another familiar move. If we recall from the Albert and LCD arc with Mark Silvestri, when a stealth bomber was pointed at the Twin Towers. Similarly, in the 3rd issue, as Ogun is wildly spinning the helicarrier through the New York skyline, he also points the helicarrier at said Twin Towers. And everyone's like, is he going to run us into the Twin Towers? Eee! Only for him to then steer them through it and then almost hit the Statue of Liberty. So Larry Hama, 2 for 2 on threatening the World Trade Center.
Look, again, Al-Qaeda didn't pick it because it wasn't the obvious choice. They wanted to make a statement.
Yeah. So
it was that people don't live at the Statue of Liberty. So like, even though iconically that's a better thing to blow up, like there's going to be 100 people there. I don't know how many people at the Statue of Liberty at any given time.
I don't know.
I've only seen it in the X-Men movie. And when I walked down to Battery Park once when I was in Manhattan, just so I could point at it and say, yep, okay, good. Seen it with my own eyes. True story. I then texted someone and said, I saw that thing from the X-Men movie, from the first one.
Out loud. You said that out loud.
I think I sent a text, but yes.
Yeah. So, issue 3's cover says, can a sweet young girl from Illinois defeat a corrupt evil spirit from the pit of Hades? The amazing answer lies inside. Of course the answer is yes. Like, we're not going to let, ghost zombie computer virus Ogun defeat Kitty Pryde on the helicarrier. Like,
Do you like Ogun as a character?
No, I don't. I think Ogun is very much like Stryker in that it should have just been in the Wolverine mini and never brought back. And it's annoying that it was brought back for the Kitty Pryde Wolverine mini and has still persisted to.
Well, no, he first appears in the Kitty Pryde Wolverine mini. You may be thinking of Shogun.
Oh, all right. I rewind for a second. Just after that first appearance, we don't need that guy again. You know, I don't like that everyone's like, oh, he's so cool, we got to bring him back as a ghost for decades. That's just dumb.
I think that's dumb too. Also, to be clear, because we have to circle back on this, Brian K. Vaughan's quote was, Ronald Reagan once said that a great leader is someone is simply an average man who surrounds himself with the best. That's why I never vote Republican. It has nothing to do with genes. I was conflating those two. The two Republican jokes that they make in X-Men comics.
Yeah, why did I think Ogun was in the
because
Miller
there's a guy
series?
named Shogun in it.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, anyway, this is not very good, but it wasn't terrible.
I didn't hate reading this because Larry Hama knows how to take you on a ride.
Yes.
And I love that about Lethal Larry. Even when it's not good, which this isn't. Larry just doesn't know how to write kids is part of it. Like,
no. I mean, he knows how to write Jubilee, but that's totally different than
Kitty's also written like Jubilee, though, in this.
A little bit.
It's that vibe.
Yeah.
Like, if Jubilee makes the joke about Republicans wearing dungarees, I don't even think twice about it. That's a Jubilee line. That's not a Kitty line.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. But I think we have enough here that we could rank this on our big old list.
I don't think people need to read. Dum Dum Dugan is in here. A few other Shield people. Honestly, here's the thing. I've never had anything for the Countess. I've never known her as anything but like a bad guy. So and that's just because I haven't read old Shield stuff, and I get it. Jim Steranko.
She's much better in those. Much more of a fun character.
I believe it, but like, here's the thing. I bet those Jim Steranko comics look great. But it's just like, it's going to be so much work for me to go back and read them at this point.
You got too much to read here on our big old list.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Adam, for reminding me that we do have to talk about our big old list, where we've been ranking 1,116 different X-Men comics from best to worst for the last many years. The best X-Men story of all time is, of course, the House of X Powers of 10. That's at number 1 on our list. At 275 on our list is Uncanny X-Men Volume 3 Broken. That is 8 through 11 of that. Uncanny X-Men 325 is Uncanny X-Men 326 is at 550. What happens in that comic? I didn't write down anything, so I don't know. 825 is X-Men The Search for Cyclops. 1100 is Wolverine Evolution. That's bad. That's a bad one. That's a really bad comic. But it's not the worst X-Men comic of all time, which is 16 comics worse. That is 2099 World of Tomorrow. So it's not good.
Well, just point of context, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine is up at 327. Kitty Pryde Shadow and Flame is at 747. I would say the Paul Smith art probably edges that out. Correct?
Yeah, that's all we need to say. Like the Paul Smith, fantastic. We love a Paul Smith.
Is this better? Speaking of good art, at 921, Kitty robs a bank from Axis Revolutions number 3.
This is better than that.
I think this is better than that.
And again, love Pepe, but that story's nothing.
Yeah.
This is better than. Hold on, I'm looking. What's 850? What's at 850? This is better than Halloween Jack versus Domino.
Yep, I would agree. At 795, we have Uncanny X-Men Annual number 8, The Adventures of Lockheed and Kitty. I don't think this is. I don't know. I think the art is better in that issue, even though that's kind of nothing of a story.
The art's not great in that issue, but I think we're spiritually in the right spot. Like, this is. You got Supervillain Team Up 14 / Champion 16, which is Doom versus Magneto. That's at 800 right now.
I think that's better. That's more fun.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's see, at 825, we have X-Men: The Search for Cyclops. This is better than Search for Cyclops.
Yeah, it's better.
Is it better? This is worse than Spellbound number 4.
Yeah, it is. Is it better or worse than X-Man from Age of Apocalypse?
Buddy, you know it's worse than X-Man from Age of Apocalypse. I don't know why you even said that. You know it's worse than that. And that comic's not good. I don't like that comic, and this is worse than that.
This is better than Dazzler 1 at 818, is it?
Yeah, but it's not better than Champions Volume 3, Number 5, The War of the Realms, where
Great. So
Cyclops is like, oh, I was friends with you when I was a teenager. It was a weird thing.
Love it. So this is our new 818 Kitty Pryde Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that is about as normal as it's going to get, folks, because now we're going to talk about X-Men True Friends from 1999. This is Chris Claremont writing, Rick Leonardi on pencils, Al Williamson on inks. And this is a time travel story about Kitty Pryde and Rachel, though Rachel's in a box for most of it, traveling back to 1936 Scotland.
Yep. They travel back to 1936 Scotland, where there are some parliamentarians in the United Kingdom that are trying to team up with the Nazis to overthrow the monarchy.
Yeah.
And impose someone else because something actually it was a fake baby, something. So Kitty Pryde has to make really good friends with Princess Lilibet.
Yes, who is related somehow to this handsome man that she falls in love with named Lord Alistair Kinross.
Well, buddy, you know who the princess is, right?
Princess Lilibet, it was Queen Elizabeth II.
It's Queen Elizabeth II. So I've got some questions about Kitty Pryde's monarchist feelings and all of that. I will generally say that I do think it is buck wild that the United Kingdom still has a monarchy largely for tourism reasons, but then also gives that monarchy a non-zero amount of political power. Like, I'm not saying that it is constitutional or Magna Carta based power or whatever, but tell me that the royal family does not have some level of political power in England. You're crazy. Like, power comes in multiple ways.
Sure. Well,
buck wild.
This is a very strange story.
It's like we fought a war about that, and we weren't even on the right side of everything, but we knew, America knew, hey, pretty wild.
Sure.
Say what you will about George Washington. He explicitly said, I don't want to be a king.
That is true. That is one thing he did.
Complex man. A lot of stuff going on with him. Some good, a lot not so good, is what it is.
So this is mainly Kitty going around, kind of trying to subvert Nazis. But this being a Chris Claremont story, of course, this is all actually related to the secret plans of one of his favorite villains. Zach, who is the manipulator behind the scenes here?
Oh, buddy, you know it's Amal Farouk, the Shadow King.
That's correct.
Here's the thing. Correct. I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
This might be the most I've liked Chris Claremont's Shadow King, like as a going concern, since the issue that he appears in for the first time.
It actually is probably one of the better Shadow King stories, despite the fact that I think what works about it is that if I'm being gracious, Claremont is tapping into something more akin to like an Indiana Jones story with these 3 issues.
Yes.
Because of the settings. And Amal Farouk and his Shadow King agenda fits more into that. And I think it's a much better context for him than, say, the Muir Island saga, right? Or trying to explain that he's a multi-dimensional force of evil.
If you want to like get this guy over as, I'm the most evil dude.
Mm-hmm.
You have him team up with the Nazis and be like, hey guys, I actually I don't care about any of that stuff that you guys are talking about, but I'll help you do genocides if it helps with my plans.
Yeah.
That gets Amal Farouk, the Shadow King, over in this story. Also, the fact that he is Amal Farouk, in Amal Farouk's body, who I get that it was copied off of that one Egyptian king prince guy, but it's a good look.
It makes more sense in the context and the time period.
And it reminds me of Naveed Negban playing Shadow King in Legion, and that is actually the most I've ever liked Shadow King.
Oh, well, that's the best depiction.
It's so good. I think about that psychic fight that they do at the end of season 2.
It's pretty
constantly.
Great.
They're singing while they do a big psychic fight. It's so good. I've never watched season 3 of that show. It's just I have to commit to it.
If you like singing, you'll like the 3rd season. There's a lot of singing. I have a few. Well, first, let me start with a really good thing here. I'm a fan of Rick Leonardi. I like Rick Leonardi's art, and I generally, with a few exceptions here and there, I like the art here quite a bit. Where this story kind of breaks down is in a couple of different places. One is that it's advertised as being a Kitty and Rachel story. Rachel's not really in it until the 3rd issue. She's been locked away.
Kitty is trying to find her best true friend Rachel this whole time.
Yeah.
But I'd rather again, we are getting promised a Chris Claremont, Rick Leonardi Rachel story, and it is being withheld from us.
Yes. I also have questions because the 3rd person in this story is Wolverine. Now, that makes sense. It makes sense. Wolverine was alive. Okay. And Wolverine will later have his memory scrambled. So you got me there so far, right? It's okay that he can meet Kitty in the past and not recognize her in the future. That's fine. Where I get confused, and I really do, I spent a lot of time after reading this thinking about this and trying to figure this out. Wolverine has his claws in this story. Wolverine has his claws and uses his claws. Now, this is 1999. So we, as readers, have known since 1993 that Wolverine had claws underneath the adamantium. However, in all the stories where Wolverine flashed back to the past, previous to Weapon X, right, and before Fatal Attractions revealed Bone Claws, Wolverine didn't have the claws because, canonically, Weapon X gave him the claws. So it's Chris Claremont kind of, in publishing history, catching up with something that's happened in 93, but in canon, Wolverine didn't know he had the claws at this time period. That's why when we go back to Madripoor Nights, he doesn't use the claws because he doesn't know he has the claws.
Okay, but that's not one. Oh, I hear you, but I'm on Chris Claremont's side 100%. Him not knowing he has the claws is kind of dumb. That's Chris saying, okay, well, if he's had if he has bone claws, then he figured out that he had claws at some point in the past, so he just didn't use them in Madripoor Nights then. This is Chris being okay, well, then let's improv here. Let's keep jazzing it up. I'm fine with that. I feel nothing about that.
That drove me nuts. I didn't like that.
Yeah, but you're more pedantic than I am about that kind of stuff.
Maybe.
God bless you. And I say that with so much love.
Yeah. So that stuff's a little wonky. I think the other time travel thing that's weird here is that Shadow King reads Kitty's mind and learns all about the X-Men and is like, Professor Xavier, I'm going to find him and I'm going to break him, which, that's weird with continuity too. So there's some weird.
It's not. That's Claremont being and then he goes to a cafe in a few years. In a few years, he's going to go to an Egyptian cafe, and that's what's going to happen. I get that. That's the stuff that he wants to do. Claremont wants to do. Like, he wants the Shadow King to be ever present, all knowing, ahead of the game. And that's his look. He had all of this foreknowledge of what was going to happen.
I got two other things.
One, you have so many things for this episode, and I'm loving
Kitty
it.
Kitty Pryde, knowing sort of like where she is and when she is, also attempts to go and stop the Holocaust by killing all of the leaders of the Nazis. At least
and
sets out to do that.
I'm gonna let you finish your thought, but beforehand, I want you to be very clear. You have been saying, I have a problem with all of these things in the comic, and now you're saying something that seems very normal and reasonable again. So I just want you to circle back and
that's a good point. So just hold that thought.
I'm holding it. I'm holding space for your thoughts.
Here's the second part. And this is another continuity thing that drove me nuts about this issue. Okay. So we have Kitty Pryde. She's going to go back.
Pryde, Nazi murderer.
She's going to kill all of the Hitler and everybody else. This
doing
is
a great job.
Fantastic.
100% on her side.
She's got like ninja skills. She's ready to go do it. I'm like, go Kitty, go. Wolverine is revealed to be working with Destiny. And in a conversation, so first of all, I'm already like, ding, ding, ding. I don't like that. That's weird. Okay. I don't like that you're working with Destiny. Second,
that's what Destiny does, though.
Destiny convinces Wolverine not to let Kitty stop World War II and the Holocaust, because if she does it, we need to be worried about a quote unquote potential for a greater evil. That is what Chris Claremont put in this comic book. And it just seems wild to me that a story that centers around a Jewish character is like, has this scene in it that already has weird continuity to it, that has Destiny explaining why we should just let that happen. That's weird, right?
Chris Claremont was a Jewish kid born to parents who,
I know, but like,
we're Chris, actively in World War II, so I'm gonna let him slide. Chris,
what are you doing?
He's thinking.
What are you doing, Chris?
What he's doing is saying like, he can't actually change. That's the thing, since this is a story about time travel and he can't actually change history, he has to make history happen. So he's how do I, he's like, this has to be the only way.
That's a terrible way to do it, though. You could totally just have Kitty get distracted, or the Shadow King gets.
You think Kitty's going to get distracted about murdering all of the Nazis?
She does. She doesn't do it.
Yeah, because she gets time traveled away.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
She tries to murder one Nazi, and then she gets time traveled away.
You don't need that scene with Wolverine and Destiny.
You also don't need this to be a 32-page comic or a 30-page comic on each issue.
This should have been a graphic novel with maybe 48 pages, right?
Yes. Do you know what we haven't talked about this entire time?
Well, a bunch of stuff. We didn't talk about the weird being Nye, the witch that appears that does the time traveling. Stonehenge type stuff. What else am I missing?
I was thinking about Alistair Kinross, the true love of Kitty's life forever and ever, who at her bachelorette party, she was even thinking about and hoping that his ghost came back and comforted her.
I did look to see other appearances and was not surprised to see that Claremont wrote her into the X-Men wedding special from 2018.
Funny. In retrospect, because Claremont would have known writing that special, so the wedding's not going to happen. Yeah. So freaking funny that Chris Claremont, #1 Kitty and any woman shipper, does have another more important ship in his mind, and that is this one guy from this weird miniseries in 1999, and no one in editorial stopped him. Like, they could have been like, Chris, God bless you.
No. There's no stopping him. There's no
No
stopping
one,
him.
only the real freaks know about True Friends. It's not even, this isn't even like the X-Men fans know about this, but like general readers don't. I would bet you that X-Men True Friends has a very low readership compared to most X-Men miniseries.
I would
It
think.
looks like it should be skippable. And yet, I kind of love it.
I
There's
didn't hate
so
it.
much charming stuff about this comic.
Yeah.
Like,
It is a
Alistair
good Kitty
Kinross
story.
does really like Kitty and does want to make her like his queen eternally forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. Kitty Pryde does actively try and murder the entire Nazi party.
Mm-hmm.
And that part is great. Wolverine stabs Nazis. That is great. And you know what? There's a lot of Shadow King stuff. Like, this is the only time where, like, in Shadow King and Phoenix are equal opposites, and something cosmically clear. Like, that's the only time all of this is like made like worked for me.
Yeah.
And I get it a little bit more.
Yeah. I just think it's overly long. If
Oh,
this was like a prestige graphic novel, like a Marvel graphic novel or something like that, that would have been
Heck,
probably
just
a
make
little
it 3 20-page comics or 22-page comics. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
There is about 10 pages in each issue that could just get thrown out the door.
Easily.
You could tighten this up. Probably don't have her be best friends with Queen Elizabeth, though I understand that one, Chris Claremont, born in Britain, raised in America, has a insane like Tebow style fascination with his homeland, with Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And like he does idolize it in a way that like I understand, but I cannot endorse. And I understand that our feelings on the monarchy as Americans have changed pretty substantially over the last 30 years, pretty much ever since the Princess Di stuff, which this was still post that.
It's okay. We've got King Charles now. We understand they're all racists again. We've got it figured out.
Bud, the beauty is it was never again. It just always was.
It always was, but
Always
sometimes
has been.
people forget because they get starstruck.
Because they're queens and princesses, like the stories.
Sure.
And all of them are ugly. I'm sorry. Here's the thing.
Decades of inbreeding might do that.
I get it. And I know that that's like a common joke. But I feel like we don't talk about how much the only attractive traits in that royal family are the women who marry into it.
Mm-hmm.
They consistently beautiful. None of the men, no one who is of that family has been attractive for years. They are some of the worst looking men I've ever seen.
Wow.
They're bad look. All the money in the world and they can't fix that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm right.
This has been Men Looks with Zach. At $4.95.
Talk about what men I think. Look, I am secure enough in my sexuality to be like, those men are ugly. Those men, not good. Not like the men on this podcast who run this show, who are both incredibly attractive men.
Two handsome men hanging out.
Two handsome men talking about comic books. The thing that everyone wants is two men in a podcast. You know, I avoid telling people because I use this microphone that you see in our audience doesn't, but it looks like a podcast mic.
It is a podcast mic.
When people at work on Zoom calls ask me about this because it is obvious, I say, I use it for recording, and I don't bring up the podcast, and I do have a guitar.
And they don't ask. They're like, he's jamming out.
I have a guitar that is always visible. And they're like, oh, okay. So I assume he's doing it for guitar reasons. And I'm like, you're not going to catch me telling the professional HVAC world that I have a X-Men podcast? Are you out of your mind?
You're ashamed of us. I get it.
Adam, I am not ashamed of you. I am ashamed of what culture has done to the noble art of podcasting. Yes.
I agree. I can agree with that 100%.
Bud, do you want to be a Theo Vaughn?
No.
Do you want to be a Dax Shepard?
No, definitely not. I want to
don't-
be us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're fine. We're
Yeah.
fine. I could be a Stevinsky, but he's more of a radio man.
He's an NPR guy. At $4.95, we have Colossus God's Country. I think that's better.
Colossus. Sorry. I'm laughing at my own jokes and your own jokes.
Well, I know you just met Stevinsky.
I did just meet Stevinsky. It was a great time. He wrote a book about Abraham Lincoln that was pretty good.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Colossus God's Country. Yeah, that's better than this.
Yeah.
What's a 550? What's a 550 right now? Uncanny X-Men 326. Guess what, folks? We actually are going to figure out what that issue is. Oh, Gambit fights Sabretooth because of the girl.
Joe Mad.
Yeah. That's better than this.
Yeah, I would say so. 600 is New X-Men 1-6, choosing sides.
That is the... Yeah, we're kind of like right there, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on, because X Campus is at 610. This is better than X Campus. This is on par with something like 609 Pixie Strikes Back. At 590 is Marauders 20. That's that Storm issue where everyone talks about how great Storm is, and it's equal parts cringe and cheesy, and also I also think Storm's awesome.
I think this is better than this is kind of surprisingly high. New Excalibur 6-7 is at 582. I think this is better than that.
Man, that is high.
Yeah. This is better than
that one, did it?
576.
That one was interesting. It had
Wolverine,
some stuff.
This is better than 576, Wolverine versus the Collector by Eric Larson.
Yes, but this is not better than Uncanny X-Men Breaking Point with Ord of Breakworld coming back and Kitty having to solidify herself.
Yep.
I think that Kieran Gillen comic's better.
Yeah. All right. So yeah.
Okay, no, actually we're gonna put it right above the Collector story that you said, and right below 575 Skinning of Souls from X-Men 17 to 19, where an entire Russian village gets murdered.
I think that's a good spot. That's 576 X-Men True Friends. And we've got our weirdest Kitty story last. Because if you thought Mr. Claremont was cooking with X-Men True Friends, you ain't seen nothing, folks. Because we're going to talk about some X-Men Forever.
X-Men Forever is the equal opposite of X-Men The End. Where X-Men The End is unhinged Claremont parentheses complementary.
Yeah.
X-Men Forever, specifically X-Men Forever 2, in this case 7 through 10, but the dirty secret about X-Men Forever is there's not really arcs in a traditional way. There's more multiple overlapping storylines that you just kind of have to pick a spot for the purposes of this podcast, because ain't no way we're just reading it all as one work. We're not doing that.
No.
This is unhinged Claremont derogatory.
Oh my God. Can I tell you a quick aside?
Tell me a long aside if you want to, because that's essentially what X-Men Forever 2 is.
Yeah, when I got kind of back into the X-Men and decided to read, the whole Claremont run, and I'm gonna try and read as much of it as I can to kind of catch up to the present. One of the things that I was excited about doing was when I learned about X-Men Forever, I was like, oh, that's so cool. They kind of gave Chris Claremont his own little parallel universe that he could just keep writing where he left off on X-Men 3. That's so fun. Go to the library, pick it up, realize that it's drawn by Tom Grummett, and also realize that it's absolute garbage nonsense.
Because here's the
thing. And it only gets worse because it is really just Claremont just throwing in all of these things that he once said in an interview was the original idea for something. Wolverine was going to die. Wolverine dies.
Okay, but not in the way he planned, because Wolverine had already they did that in Enemy of the State. So he was like, crap, Mark Miller took my idea. I have to do something else now to kind of get there.
Yep. So in this case,
this is such X-Men.
Here's how unhinged X-Men Forever is. There were things in this arc that I found deeply confusing. And I was like, surely someone on the internet, the Marvel Wiki, somewhere, someone will be able to tell me what's going on here. No one knows. Everyone is just like, we think this is what's happening here, I guess. That's about as good as we could get. Also, there's not a lot of people talking about it because it sucks.
The number of X-Men Forever heads out there is so low. Like,
It's because it's bad.
there's like 50 issues of this. You could
Okay.
do a solid X-Men Forever omnibus.
So just point of order here. We are talking about X-Men Forever 2, 7 through 10. And I will say one positive thing about this, and
What's
that
the
is
positive?
that issues 7 and 8 are drawn by Ron Lim and inked by Corey Hampshire. They look great. Like, these two issues, it's still like Ron Lim is, even though this is from 2010, he's still cooking. I thought those two issues, like, I was like, this makes me feel like I'm reading some X-Men 2099. Like, this actually looks okay. And then the second two issues are drawn in the most hideous, repulsive way possible by Mike Grell.
Okay, well, one, it just looks like Mike Grell drew him. Like, that's...
Yeah.
It looks like Mike Grell art. Two, I kind of liked it. I liked the Mike Grell art way better than the Ron Lim art.
I will tell you
had
this.
The exact opposite reaction as you.
Really?
100%. I was like, oh, this Mike Grell stuff, we're cooking now. It's got some angularity. It's got some grit to it. Like, it felt like a late 80s, early 90s Vertigo-y comic that, like, it's the guys in the late 80s, early 90s that weren't trying to be Jim Lee or Rob Liefeld. Like, it felt like those guys.
Maybe if it was black and white. The digital colors on top of it.
Oh, digital colors. Like, it.
Mike Grell's Wolverine clone it will haunt my dreams. It's
just
really messed up.
It looks like
really
the cover of Wolverine #1. It looks like the Buscema Wolverine.
No.
But
it looks like
search your feelings. You know it to be true. I'm looking at it right now.
He's so gaunt and too tall. And then he's got these gross bone claws that have like finger joints.
I
like
love the gross bone claws.
His bone claws have phalanges. It's so foul. It made me want to throw up.
That's dope as heck. I love that.
You are wrong about that. It's gross.
Adam, I love gross. I'm the gross boy.
Doesn't work. Well,
what happens to these comics?
All right. So just some context, because people who haven't read X-Men Forever might not realize that during the aftermath of the first 3 issues of X-Men Forever,
which we have covered on the show,
Kitty basically inherited, based on some weird stuff with Fabian Cortez's powers, that while she was phasing through Wolverine, she actually picked up some of his DNA, including one of his adamantium claws.
Whatever. So, great. Kitty gets claws. I'd like that.
That's fine. Whatever. Where we're picking it up here is just bonkers nonsense. Because for some reason, Cable has not been sent to the future. I don't know how to square that with the timeline that this is supposed to be branching from. But
I think Claremont just said he didn't want to do that, so he wasn't going to.
Sure. So Nathan has been sent to Alaska and is now, in these first 2 issues, being attacked by the Marauders because Claremont is very excitedly finally getting to do what he originally wanted to do with Mr. Sinister, which is that Mr. Sinister is actually a little boy named Nathan who has been alive for many, many years and was a child with Cyclops in the orphanage.
Yep, and Sinister was all the evil in the world. And yes. Gambit was all of the good in the world.
Gambit, who is
I'm sorry. It's just
we got to
Claremont.
get
You
into.
can write these things down, but they don't. They don't always work.
We have
Gambit,
to get into Gambit.
You're talking about Remy Picard.
Yes, not Remy LeBeau. Remy Picard.
Honestly,
who may
I
or
love how
may
petty that is. That he's
may
like,
or
that's not even his last name.
yeah, may or may not be a Sinister clone. It's debatable.
In
because
X-Men: The End, he is a Sinister clone, and also a Summers brother, and that's what's important.
Yeah. Anyway, the first two issues they have to fight off the
By
Marauders.
they, you mean Cyclops and Jean and Remy Picard and Shadowcat, who has both one Wolverine claw and then other claws in her other hand on her
Yes.
fingernails, like she's Lady Deathstrike from the
Yes.
movie. Lil Ro, which is the child Aurora Monroe, because unbeknownst to them in the Extinction Agenda, when we got re-aged Aurora Monroe, actually that wasn't the real Aurora Monroe. That was Perfect Aurora, who is a something clone and is evil.
And is now the Queen of Wakanda.
She's the Queen of Wakanda now. Yes.
Yes.
We also have Nick Fury's on the team. Moira McTaggart's on the team.
Because S.H.I.E.L.D. operates out of the X-Mansion now.
Honestly, Claremont was kind of like leaning into a lot more S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff right before then. So
That makes sense with me in Genesis.
It does. Moira McTaggart, Sabretooth, which feels like something Claremont always wanted to do more with and never got around to.
Blind Sabretooth. Yeah, see, this is all tracking with Claremont. Also, Rogue and Nightcrawler. Hey, Bud, had you gotten far enough in X-Men Forever when you were when you wore a younger man's clothes to know what happens with Rogue and Nightcrawler? They have switched power sets.
So
now Rogue is blue and teleports, and
Nightcrawler is a guy.
Yeah, he's not blue anymore.
He's just a man.
Just a guy.
I love it. I love it. It's not good.
No, I hate it. I think I hate all of it. So the Starjammers are there. They fight off the Marauders, but of course, Sinister has not just cloned the Marauders. He has also cloned another Wolverine. So Wolverine shows up, Bone Claws, and Kitty is somehow. Why does she end up with Mariko in Japan? I don't remember. There's like this thing with Matsuo and the Silver Samurai.
There's something. Oh, yeah, Mariko's actually evil, so she goes to hang out with Mariko,
Oh, right.
and Mariko's mad at everything that has happened, and because she gives an insane reason. I apologize for the fact that you're going to have to edit out this vamping, because I want to find her exact lines, because I was on the wrong issue, because it is truly nuts. So,
well,
Kitty's recovering from the fight, and the clone Wolverine comes back. They eventually, or no, she has a dream about the clone Wolverine coming back. That's what it is. But they go out to Japan. This is after Kitty and Remy almost kiss.
Okay, we got to get into this. This is so gross.
Okay, you do the Kitty and Remy kissing stuff while I figure out why Mariko's mad. We read this comic like days ago, guys.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
This stuff with Kitty and Gambit is still very fresh in my mind, and it is so disgusting because you can see that Claremont is seeding that, like he's hinting at it in issues 7 and 8, and once we get to issue 9, it's like, oh no, are they going to kiss? Is Gambit going to awaken the inner lust of Kitty Pryde? It's so gross because, like, I picture Gambit as significantly older than Kitty, and it's a Pete Wisdom problem here. Like, Gambit arrives in comics and it's like, oh right, he's the same age as Cyclops.
Yes, but
he's not a kid.
He's not a kid.
He should not be romancing or even entertaining the thought of romance with Kitty Pryde. I
will say that in X-Men Forever, Gambit is written as younger. Also, just if we're going to be continuity pedants, like somebody wants to be in this episode.
Yeah.
Kitty's not that much younger than Rogue. Kitty's like a couple years younger than Rogue.
That's true, but Rogue is still older.
Rogue
than
is still
Kitty.
Rogue is still older than
Yes.
Kitty. I will say that.
Yes.
Also, Claremont's writing Gambit not as
Younger.
Cyclops' age, but
He's
he is
no.
like if he's going with if I'm Chris Claremont and it's 2009, 2010, I'm probably going to accept that 30 years of Gambit have Gambit in people's head as a different age than Claremont did. And like the optics are going to be wild on that one. Anyway,
mean,
Kitty just goes to Alaska because she wants to figure out what happened with Clone Wolverine. And or not Alaska, to Japan. That's why she goes over there and Storm stows away. And then
Mariko trades Kitty to Perfect Storm in Wakanda, and that's kind of where we leave off.
Yeah, because something Masura Toriyaba and something the Silver Samurai, something actually I was on the right issue, which is annoying. Anyway, Mariko's mad about it and about everything that has happened with Wolverine. And folks, it's so hard to explain X-Men Forever because the comic doesn't do a good job of it, and then it runs counter to like a lifetime of knowledge that we have about X-Men. So we're saying things that we know aren't true, but are true for like a very weird and unimportant subsection of X-Men. Also, there's a white Black Panther, like a Black Panther white robot Black Panther armor.
Yeah.
That's all. She's mad because Logan kissed Jean. That's why.
Right.
Why she said, "I pledged my heart and my life to Logan, but he abandoned me for Jean Grey. That act, that insult, cannot be forgiven. You have all sown this wind, Kitty. Now you shall reap the whirlwind. As my brother cements our alliance with the Hand, so have I assumed control of the consortium, and through them the power over S.H.I.E.L.D. Before I am done, you will learn the true cost of your friend's betrayal." I love Mariko Yoshida being evil.
I don't love anything about this. I think it's trash. I think it's
none
extra trash because it's Chris Claremont like promising everybody who was a kid in 1991, like, hey guys, come check it out. We're going to just pick things up where we left off. It's going to be so much fun. And then him being like, nah, man, we're going to do some crazy stuff. You're not going to believe this stuff. It's going to be crazy. And it's like,
you remember Claremont. The time that I just tweeted a Chris Claremont panel that was largely about things from X-Men Forever. And Chris was having, I don't even know if Chris was having an off day. He seemed a little off that day. But Chris was not providing proper context for his thoughts and kind of going, just spewing whatever thoughts he had out without giving it appropriate anything. And then people on the internet went crazy for like 3 days. And to be fair, me and my friend Thomas, who I was at the show with, also went crazy for the rest of the show because we thought it was really funny. But then, like, I think Popverse or something had to do an interview with Claremont. He was like, oh, all that was taken out of context. Which, Chris, God bless you, I just said what you said. And to be fair to Chris, I said it in a slightly glib manner. But that's how I wrote every tweet. So it's the tweets broke containment. They broke away from people who understand that that's how I tweet things.
Yes, but this is
describing, why I don't tweet anymore, by the way.
What you're describing, which is sort of like the Chris Claremont convention experience, where he just stream of consciousness tells you like some wacky ideas that he has and like what the X-Men movie should be moving forward or something like that.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing right here. Like you've
also had that X-Men movie conversation with Chris.
Come on,
unprompted. You weren't even talking about the
conversations with him, and he does it at appearances. I mean, whatever. It's folks, just that's what he's doing. Chris here.
While he's still doing appearances, because God bless him, but he's been doing this for a while, and the man's got to be tired.
His lines keep getting longer every year.
Make sure it just like savor the experience and keep your ears open. Get as close to the table as possible just to hear what he says. And bait him just a little. Not much. Don't harass the man. Bait him just enough that he'll get on something. Don't bring up the whole, Jean Grey came back to life and it threw off all his plans, because we've all heard that. That story's been consistent for 40 years. Find some weird thing that you know he remembers and just put it in front. Ask him about X-Men Forever too, actually. That's what you should do. you won't know what he's talking about necessarily, but that's the experience of reading X-Men Forever too. This is worse than the first 3 issues of X-Men Forever, though. Yes?
Yes, and that is at where?
The first 5 issues, excuse me, are at 969.
Okay. Is this better, though, than the first book of Stanley Presents, X-Men, The End, Book 1, Dreamers and Demons?
No, it is not better than Stanley Presents, X-Men, The End, Book 1, Dreamers
All right,
and Demons.
then we are in the thousands here.
Is this better or worse than the Fabian Nicieza X-Men Forever? I think worse.
It's worse. I would rather read the Fabes X-Men Forever.
That one
which is insane on its own.
Because that's a story about Prosh.
Yeah. But that actually fits continuity. I don't know what the hell that we're looking at.
That story only fits continuity. That story is, no, this all has to work. Gosh darn it, it has to work. This is not as good as God Loves Man Kills 2, probably.
Oh, I hate God Loves Man Kills 2, but that's
it's been since the first time you and me spoke with our actual human mouths.
I know.
Since I've read that comic, and I bet it's the same for you.
Is this as bad as New Mutants Forever at 1096?
No, it is not. It goes right between those two.
All right. So our new 1096, X-Men Forever 2, 7 through 10. I don't recommend that. Stay away from that
so much.
The other 2 you might want to watch. I don't know. Check those out, I guess.
You might. Or you might want to mainline all of X-Men Forever. Just
X-Men
go through
Forever.
Bud, hold on. Because
here we go. That's a pitch.
I'm gonna
Zach's version of X-Men. Picks it up with issue 5. Here we go.
All right. Just to be clear, in my version of X-Man Forever, which will start perfect, issue 5 right after Age of Apocalypse.
Right. Yep.
I want to be so clear. The incest stays. That's non-negotiable. The incest is part of the character, man. That's not going anywhere. Kyle, thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter.
If you'd like to make a request, you go over to patreon.com/battletheatom, and $5 gets you your own bespoke episode of the show. Just letting Zach catch his breath here.
Thanks. I'm having a weird one today, guys.
You're doing great. You can catch continuing reviews of Gail Simone and David Marquez's Uncanny X-Men by Austin Gorton and I over at Comics XF. And you can follow on socials, Adam Recco on Blue Sky and Instagram. Zach, what are we doing next week?
Talking about cartoons.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
We might break out the X-Men Babies theme song for that one. We'll have to find a glossy MP3 of that. I'm just kidding. I assume that file has been long deleted.
No, that's gone.
To be fair, it is just sitting in front of our podcast episode. But do you want to go find that episode? Because I'd have to scroll like a bit.
Here's the thing. I could find it. I could edit it in. I'm not going to do that only because I don't think there's any actual X-Babies in next week's episode.
I'm okay with that. I just wanted to remember that time that you sang the Muppet Babies theme song with X-Men and had it as part of our podcast. That's the glory that we bring to the table. But till then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!